Hi guys, Mr. Giles here. Welcome to the second episode of my Kingdom Converted Let's Play. So last episode we kicked off with all the reorganisation and stuff, so that's pretty much done. So this episode's going to be burning through time to get... Actually, is it episode 2? I can't even remember. This might be episode 3, but whatever way you look at it, it's one of the 3 episodes that I've begun this series with. So, burning through time is the agenda for today, and this is what I find annoying. I don't want to fly. You're bloody fuel. Go away. Right. Okay. So, yeah. So it's good to get back to playing a single player Let's Play. It's not necessarily that I don't like doing it for multiplayer. It's just that I understand for you guys it's quite difficult, because my commentary is really fairly minimal, and similarly, for lots of the time, I'm focusing far more on the gameplay than I am on witty banter. And for that purpose, I can see why well, lots of you might find it a bit boring. But the reason I really want to get multiplayer vids out there at the moment is because, firstly, I feel like I can easily improve my commentary in the future. You know, I can do it for single player games, but it was a bit difficult for me at the beginning. You know, I was trying to think of something to do, trying to think of something to say all the time, and it just, although lots of people say it's something that comes quite naturally to me, and I'd agree with that. In multiplayer games, far less so, because I'm trying to interact with other people at the same time. But I'm sure it's not necessarily something that I can't perfect, if that makes sense. I'm quite sure that I can get that. I can get those videos. I'm sure I can get those videos to become quite good at some point. It's just that, or the commentary anyway, it's just that obviously the commentary will never be quite as good as the commentary on my single player videos. So it's never going to meet those sort of godly, amazing standards that, you know, are so common throughout my channel. Because I'm always going to have to interact with other people. So that's why, but the games are just so much more interesting. Like, every other game is essentially going to be me crushing the AI. Whatever country I'm going to be playing, I'm going to do a quite good job at it. And it's not me being arrogant, it's just that any human is always superior to the AI. And that's partly why I wanted to introduce those RWA changes, and I'm a bit annoyed I didn't. I know in mods that's not the case as well, but yeah, we're not using mods here. So, yes. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep supporting me. I've got tons and tons and tons of content at the moment, just tons of it to get out. I'm only just started uploading the first part of my multiplayer game, the weekday game, I think it was. And oh god, wow, yeah, did not go well that game. Just gonna post. But anyway, so that's how much stuff I got to get to. So I've got another like 5 hours of multiplayer content to get up to at this point, and another like 2 hours of single player content. So 7 hours or something. So 8 hours of gameplay perhaps. Oh, I did that wrong. I know, it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not important. I can upgrade these. I need 3 divisions of light, 3 brigades of light armor. They're not. I know. I'm just upgrading any cavalry. 3 brigades. Okay. I know that's going to spam my production for a bit. I want to know what, yeah, I'd really like to see how Italy did in that. I don't imagine they would have done badly, but... Oh, look, here we go. Fall of Republican Spain. One thing I have noticed in relation to the Spanish Civil War is when the later it kicks off, the better chance, or it appears, the more often Republican Spain wins. And I'm not really sure if that's an actual correlation there, but we just got the post twice, which is pretty weird. Maybe the postman forgot something. But yeah, so obviously it seems that the nationalists win more frequently at the beginning of the game, but I'm not really sure there's any correlation in that, to be honest. I think it's relatively balanced. I've seen both sides win enough times, to be honest, to say that one side winning is not necessarily a surprise. Lots of people seem to act quite surprised when the Republicans win, and I've seen them win so many times that it's always very. I always find it quite surprising. Yeah, people still find that still say things like that. I'm gonna remove this one incorrectly named. Here should be numerals. Copper Amata. Okay, so this force, if you're wondering, the one I'm building up right now, in here in South Italy, will be one I use to go on the offensive. So ultimately, I'll be invading. You know, not the Soviet. Well, maybe eventually the Soviets, but not yet. We'll be invading the Yugoslavs, we'll be invading the Greeks, we'll be invading Bulgaria. And I know lots of Italian players like to deploy everything up here and just have an overwhelming force through which to crush everything. But I actually don't like doing that because I find that it's a little bit counterintuitive, because Greek VPs in particular are right on the coast. And as Italy, playing against these minor nations, you have a massive naval advantage. I mean, I don't see the point in fighting through Greece and the mountains and fighting through Yugoslavia the whole way, when if you make a naval landing here, or here and here and here, then you can get half of Yugoslavia's victory points. Sorry, that's why I had to sneeze. I felt that one coming for a long time as well. So you can get half of Yugoslavia's victory points before you even really had to fight them on land. And similarly with Greece, you don't even really see the point in fighting Greece in the mountains because it's not a bad army at all, the Greek army. Definitely not compared with Italy's. Pretty much anything can stand up to Italy. I need to find out what marine infantry needs. At least 2 on all. Okay. I can do that. Right. Oh, he's doing I see. Not anymore, I've got. Bologna. No, I don't know why I'm doing this. We should appoint some good commanders. There's no good commanders to really appoint, to be honest. My Air Force. At the early stages of the war, I'm always pretty at a loss to do with the. Oh, good, here we go. With the Italian Air Force, because Yugoslavia doesn't have a weak air force itself. Actually, it can do harm to your bombers, but your fighters, even if you pump everything into air tech, don't have the range to cover them because they'll be based in Beograd. And for that reason, you send your bombers in, and their fighters can attack you. It's just a bit of a mess. So I'm not really sure what to do with it. One thing I do particularly like doing, actually, well, the only thing I really like particularly doing with the Italian, starting Italian Air Force is by destroying this fleet in Dubrovnik. I'd like to make a naval invasion of around here, take Split, force them into Dubrovnik, and then bomb them to hell with my bombers, which just gives them some starting experience and stuff. Never underestimate the importance of experience. He says as he's running basic training. Ooh! Oh no, 3-year draft. I want that. I suppose we'll take you. It comes to a bit of a conundrum when I appoint commandos, or those leaders that supposedly have commando traits, because I don't really... The commando trait I always find to be an odd one. Hang on, wait, I shouldn't... What? Shouldn't you still be there? Oh, you are there. Oh, I see, I've finished like 3 turns. Landed craft is quite helpful because they let you unload faster. I'm sorry, I didn't realise I was so ill. I feel like I've been ill for a while now. I'm really sorry about that. I feel like it's slowing down my excellent commentary. But then, you know, how ridiculous is that? You know, nothing can slow down my commentary. My commentary is just perfect no matter what. I always think Italian ships look quite cool, but are in reality shit. Like well, this fleet is a bad example. The Trento class look quite cool, but not as cool as the Zara class, heavy cruisers, which I always think look really cool. Where are they? I'll have them in here, won't I? Yeah, with like all the guns on the back and stuff, I think they look quite cool. But I think that's just me being a bit insane, to be honest. Oh. Wow. Wow, Chinese Civil War. I've never seen Chinese Civil War kick off before Japan's invasion. That's quite cool. I'd like to see more war in China, actually, because I think what the game neglects is that those nations, their clique, and nationalist China and communist China are essentially in a permanent state of conflict. That's alright. I'm hoping that I'm never going to have to use civil defence though, so... Good initiative. Oh no. Definitely not. Definitely not a good initiative. I'll take my drift tendency that over... yeah. Armour's luckily quite cheap to build when it's upgraded. That's why I wasn't too concerned about upgrading all that. I will reorganise those divisions up there. I know that they're sort of... Oh, that's good. Very good. We haven't finished those. No, we have. We did finish the destroyer anti-aircraft. Yeah, all 4. In which case... Wow, I'm going very heavily on naval at the moment. Should definitely scale some of that back. I'd like some more infantry, really. I just need some more divisions right now. I see, it's always tempting to accept that trade deal. No, just that would really have any effect either of us, or just better relations. So anyway, back to cool ships. Don't know about that ship. These ships look very old. And these destroyers look pretty crap too. But, well, even like the Libya class look quite cool, I would think. But, yeah, it might just maybe be. Oh, I'm also perfectly aware of the fact that, I'm also perfectly aware of the fact that, building ships because they look cool is not a sound strategy. Not a sound strategy at all. Now, maybe in the tech that Japan was going for the Congo class battle cruiser, though. Those things look insane. Those things look like they should not exist. They just... I can't believe it, really. They just look crazy. Totally crazy. We have spies, but nowhere to put them. Pointless putting them in the US. I quite like this new system, by the way, when you have spies saved up. Oh, good. Oh, that is a good tech to steal. If only I was going to build, light cruisers. Still, that is not a bad tech to steal. Well, I can't use an of 7. Oh, well, let's see if we can get anything out of them. We might have just killed 9 people, but... no. They're only people. I'm gonna kill enough people in my time. As Mussolini. The USA seems to make very exact trade offers. 20 supplies. Everyone else does stuff like that. 0.32, except for the US, which that's like semi-understandable. Request, I suppose. One of those battleship tanks done. No while yet. 38. Oh, no. Hands off my research. To be honest, I can start focusing on this now. I forgot about that. I've got enough diplomatic points now. Okay, and we've also finished. Sorry, we've also finished our upgraded light armor. So that's good. And now we can reorganize these divisions. Right. These are very basic armour divisions, by the way, but they give me the mobility and combined arms bonus that I want. They definitely won't stand up to Soviet or British armoured divisions, but they'll definitely help us where we need them to. I will also try and get some CAS out at some point, because I'm aware of the fact that I really do need some fighter technology as well. Yeah, screw that actually, we'll focus on fighter tech next. I can stay in for now. Everything else I kind of need. Actually, do I really need light cruiser anti-aircraft guns? Not right now, anyway. Small arms is more important than that. I don't like cancelling tech because it always makes me feel like I've just wasted time. Okay. Aeronautica Marina doesn't seem to make sense to me. I think what I might just say is flying like sea or something like that. But you know, oh well. Flying sea is cool. Okay, so we'll go with the same name for these guys. Oh god. I seem to have scrolled off the map. If you look at the bottom, you look at the map, look at the thing, it's gone right off the map. It was really weird. Little scroll box. Oh my god. Oh my god. Apparently, I went off the end of the world then, but that's okay, it's fine. Oh, Hearts of Iron. What's particularly funny about Hearts of Iron, or the discussion board on Steam is the one I like. I think it's hilarious. I try to help guys out there quite a lot, and there are so many threads just about the game is broken, the game crashes, the game is broken. What's wrong? Why is this game broken? And yet they don't tell you anything. They don't tell you what version they're using. You don't tell you what the issue is. Anything like that. It's hilarious. And they just think that if you simply by telling someone that the game is broken, that someone will be able to fix it. It's a bit perverse, to be honest. We'll get some close air support, as I need some hard attack. But close air support, I'm also quite happy to build as Italy. Because it's also very good against ships. So I'm aware that in the situation where I would need, say, close air support against Britain, I probably can employ it in 2 roles. So that's why it's quite efficient to build. Less efficient to use against the Soviet Union though, simply because of the lack of air bases. Odessa, Sebastopol, yeah, Batumi all have and even Rostov and Dnipropetrovsk have rare bases, but the range of CAS is just not long enough, to be honest. So February 1937. So we're starting to get closer now. I can't fight any random wars of aggression yet. Well, I wouldn't be able to. So this is why I don't think it's worth it, raising Yugoslavia's threat, because even if you do it, it starts at 0.01, so you're going to need to be doing it the whole game for it to pay off, and it just won't. Oh look, I killed 9 people. I knew that would happen as well. It's quite a fun Sardinian cruiser tech. Stealing tech as Italy feels especially good, because you don't have any leadership yourself. So stealing it for someone else is always more satisfying. Map seems to be bugging out a bit. I've lost my names. And there's the end of the world. So essentially if you go east of Midway Island, no, that's west. If you go west of East Bay Island or Island, then you fall off the end of the world. But so yeah, just letting things tick over at the moment. Nothing particularly interesting is happening. As you probably would have established yourself from the lack of interesting things that are happening. But I do feel like I have to tell you, because if I didn't tell you, you'd never work it out for yourself. You must all be stupid because you're watching my Let's Play. I'm just going to put that out there, I think anyone with half a brain cell won't watch mine. They'll go and watch, someone, a decent player, they'll go and watch, like, what's his face? Warlord Owen Robble. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. His playstyle is just... I've never seen someone spam IC and tanks so well. It's just astonishing. That's right, I do talk quite detrimental. I am quite detrimental about some other Let's players. And I suppose the reason for that is actually perhaps the biggest reason I'm a Let's Player myself is because I found there were so many painfully bad. Hello? No, sorry, I thought someone came in the door. I thought there were so many painfully bad Hearts of Iron series out there on YouTube. And I know it's a bit weird. It's a bit of a weird reason to get into Let's Playing, and that's not the only reason. I've always wanted to do it myself as well. But it's just you know, I really care about Hearts of Iron. I think it's a really good game, and it just pains me to see it when people think, you know, go, oh, you know, it's not the fact that they're doing it. You know, perfectly entitled to do it. Everyone has to do something. And I'd rather they have a go in some ways, but it's just that they are by so far the most popular Let's Players. With the greatest respect, they really are nothing special in terms of the game. In fact, pretty much most of them are pretty bad. Like, we're talking about, well, Warlord and Rommel as well, and the Commissar Stalin as well. He's pretty terrible too. And who's the other one? Oh, I've already said some stuff about Diplex Heated. His Let's Play was interesting, let's say. I mean, someone told me some interesting stuff happened in it. And I don't doubt that interesting stuff happens in it. It's just that I doubt that the actual player has anything to do with that. Whereas Diplex's Let's Play seemed to be far more him sitting at a strategic level, not even being able to see divisions and telling us what's happening, than anything else. And the other funny thing about these Let's Players is they seem to quite like using the AI. And I'm not really sure what the logic in Let's Playing with the AI is, because, as Ollie always says to me, if I'm going to do a Let's Play with the AI, I wouldn't go onto YouTube to watch it. I'd start up Hearts of Iron, I'd fire up a nation, and I'd click AI control, and then you have much more control over what you watch than anything else. That's why it seems to be rather counterintuitive to start launching a Let's Play and then use the AI. But, you know, I suppose it's their choice, isn't it? They're perfectly entitled to do it. And it's not that I really care about getting views or like subscriptions myself. It's just that I don't like that the way that Hearts of Iron is depicted by some really rather terrible players. Because I feel like I've met so many really good players in my time, you know, in multiplayer and single player, who really know what they're doing. I mean, if anyone like watched my multiplayer series, or was going to watch my multiplayer series, I absolutely get crushed. And I'm not a bad player myself. I mean, I'm not a great player, I do admit that all the time. But I get absolutely crushed by HMS in like a matter of, what, a few months, is it? And I know I was playing France and he was playing Germany, and I should have lost anyway. But, you know, that doesn't really say anything. It's the fact that, that's not bad, actually, I'll take that. It's just the fact that these players are sort of seen to be extremely good by lots of the YouTube community. They've come to represent what Hearts of Iron is, and they don't even try and play the game. You know, they're running it in AI. They're just watching, and then their production is not even a balanced build in their production. You know, what I'm thinking about here is my practicals. I'm thinking about my light aircraft practical, I'm thinking about my medium aircraft practical, my destroyer practical. Also trying to get some infantry out. But I'm also aware of the fact that I'd like to get 2 battleships. But I'd like to try and finish these 2 techs, which I've been researching quite early, because I want those 2 battleships online at least a few months after the war has broken out. So, you know, there are lots of things that I'm thinking about all the time when it comes to production, and I know right now what I am doing is neglecting my construction practical, so I know it's entirely unpractical to build, unfeasible even to build IC at this point in the game, and my armour practical is pretty terrible too. My artillery practical is not great either, actually. But Yeah, at least I'm thinking about it. At least I'm thinking about what I'm building. Whereas I don't think they do. I think they just sort of hold this mentality that certain units are the um, best kinds of units, and that is so not true. Like every unit is good in a certain situation. I mean, militia as China is one of the best units you have, or even as the Soviets. As a last-ditch attempt to hold anything, the Soviets can spam 300 militia divisions in like no time at all. So that's why armor isn't always the best, or spamming IC isn't always the best. You've also got, because when it comes to IC, you've also got to think about how the time it takes to pay back. So you're investing something like 3 IC every day to build 1 IC. And if you think about that in terms of IC days, then that's a huge amount of like investment you're making over time. Investment which may go better elsewhere, actually. So that's why you've got to think a little bit about your construction a bit more than they do. And the other thing which I always find hilarious about those Let's Plays is the way that when something isn't going quite their way, they will have quite a big rant or moan or something about, oh, it's not working, what's happening, why isn't it working? And I always just feel like commenting like, you're not trying to do anything though, you're just looking and hoping that the AI does something of its own initiative. You're not actually taking any initiative yourself in the decision making here. It's a bit like watching a football match and just hoping that shouting louder at your team will make them play better. It doesn't necessarily follow quite like that. Research free, eh? Yeah, so there's a bit of a rant there, I'm sorry about that. I don't necessarily like ranting, but sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it is. We will get some armament from my fighters. Oh, we're wasting IC. What should I build? Oh, Marines, there we go. Problem solved. I need my 3 divisions of Marines. You may ask why 3 divisions, because I'm aware of the fact I have 2 Alpini divisions. What is it? Alpini divisions, I think. I'd like to combine those into sort of Special Forces Corps. And yes, I'm aware of the fact that Special Forces, that mixed Alpini and Marines is sort of a bit of a weird concept, but it's just because Gibraltar is a mountain province, essentially. Malta isn't, so that's fine. I could sort that with Marines and be okay. But I'm thinking there are also some other targets that I may want to pursue later in the conflict, in the Caucasus, that may require those sort of combined stats. Or even in Scotland, perhaps. French? What are the French going to do, eh? Ironically, this militia later in the war, as Italy, once I've sort of got this territory secure, I've sort of secured my own situation by taking Gibraltar and the Suez and stuff. I quite like to put these in the Balkans as partisan hunters, not sort of like rebellion hunters, and they're very effective rebellion hunter units because I don't give a shit about them at all. So I could just chuck them everywhere, in Yugoslavia, Greece and Bulgaria and stuff, and that'll be very easy. Now, one thing one thing I always think about when it comes to Italy is Turkey. I mean, if we think about Turkey as a country itself, it's actually not bad. It's quite icy rich. It's specifically in the west. And of course it has controls the Bosphorus, and access to the Black Sea and stuff. And theoretically, also it gives you a oh, not her, no, not her. It gives you access to the Middle East as well. But as a downside, that's also a downside, isn't it? It also gives the Soviet Union and the Allies direct access to you. I suppose you could hold them very easily at the Bosphorus, but it's actually quite nice to have a neutral boundary. Like the way I always think that Switzerland is quite a nice neutral boundary. Sort of, yeah, neutral blockade to offensive action from the enemy. Missed that IC there. I've wasted some IC days, no. Let's get some fighters up then. Armour, yeah, you should really not be deploying that here, frogs. As a general hint, armour in mountains doesn't make sense. I mean, if it's dug in, yeah, it's sort of quite hard to dislodge, but it's not going to be like... You don't really employ armour in a defensive role. You employ it in an offensive role. And you can't deploy that in an offensive role against mountains. It doesn't work. Okay, so we can get rid of this now. Don't need the destroyers. Well, I do need the destroyers. I don't need the positioning bonus. So get rid of that. No Yugoslavia. I will not make any active attempt to raise our relations. I was still disappointed how late in the game Italy joins. Yeah, Axis, because it means I don't have that. So the Pact of Steel. The strategic modifier, which is actually not a bad modifier to have at all. Super heavy battleship. Maybe I should try and build one of those. I've never built one in Hearts of Iron. Just one day for shits and giggles. I should just try and build a super heavy battleship. Maybe I could surprise everyone in the Germany game by, rather than building an army, just put everything into building super heavy battleships. Give a new meaning to the word dreadnought. So how many cores do I have up here? Almost enough, I think. In the south we have 1, 2, 3. 3 is enough down there. 1, 2. So we have two cores plus a mobile core. So we'll go with another core up here, I think this is called the 8th core. Getting good at my Italian, guys. I'm writing some really weird shit in Italian. Yeah, I got it right. It was Japan being a bit late on the Marco Polo trigger, but I'm sure they won't have a problem beating the Chinese. There are some quite nice river lines in France. This one, it's almost like a fallback of defensive lines. So here, and here. And the Seine, of course. Have they fixed that bug? Oh good, they have fixed the bug. When the map was slightly different in the older version of the game, an older version of the map, Dieppe actually had a border with Caen, and Le Havre was slightly further down. And even though the Seine, the mouth of the Seine comes out here, it's actually the game registered that there being a land border between Dieppe and Caen, with no river line, no nothing. And I know in multiplayer games where people used to go like, well, we'll dig in, find a line of defence down here. But used to put nothing in Caen because it looked like there's no logical way in which it could be touching Dieppe. And then they just go slam through Caen, and all of a sudden we'll have like 15 German panzer divisions sitting in Caen, just because for reasons we don't really know. No one knew why, but they've changed that, which is definitely a good change. Definitely a good change, that one. I'm just going to check out Japan's stats. For by production license, where are they? The Mitsubishi. So their heart attack is 2. Their range is 400, and their sea attack is 7. Those are the really ones we want. So range 400 and sea attack 7. It's probably better now, actually, isn't it? Yeah, looks it, doesn't it? Range 400, sea attack 7. So I may have been better off building these. Sea attack 7, range. Where is range? Range. Is it the bottom? No. Oh, well. Oh, it's 400 kilometers, so we have exactly the same tech on that. So that's why it would have been. It is actually more economical to build my own. So that's alright on that front then. Could do with some more destroyers. Oh god, it's going crazy. So we've got our first close air support here. How about could mean I don't know. I'm having a go. It's the best way of putting it. Just like speaking French in France. I'm having a go, but it doesn't mean it means anything. There's nothing as intimidating as speaking French in France. As a Brit, that is. I'm sure the French manage to cope with the stress of speaking French in France. I got to go in a bit, guys. So I'll leave it another 10 minutes or so. Oh no, I've got one of them now. Okay, so Marco Polo just triggered. You can figure out that Marco Polo is triggered because Japan will only ever join the Axis, cannot join the Axis until the Marco Polo incident has fired. So they need that drop in the neutrality to join the Axis. And now they're at war, it's very easy for them to do so. So sort of very common. Starts the campaign. Japan pushes through this through China, and Shaanxi briefly pushes the Japanese away in the north, in sort of Manchukuo, in Inner Mongolia, but that changes very quickly. I'll get pushed back. In multiplayer games, there are often like 50 naval invasions, and that really screws up the Chinese. But yeah, the AI is less good at doing naval invasions. One thing is a bit of a shame is the lack of radio detection equipment. No, because I haven't got any radar installations, so I'm not really able to build any. I actually forgot it was. I thought it was more than one tech away. Oh, it's actually 2 techs away. To build radar, I'd have to get radio detection equipment as well. So I'd have to get 2 techs before I could build radar, and then my electronic theory is pretty terrible. And I've got no battery, so excuse me whilst I plug my computer in. Anyway, so as I was saying, because my electrical engineering is so terribly terrible, it would have meant that it would take an awful lot of time to build any level 10 radar stations or something like that. So it's not very economical for Greece to Italy to pursue that, so I'm going to be relying on my scouts again, guys. Never forget scouts. These little suicidal Curtoni class destroyers are going to become, well, what we'll probably refer to in the future as kamikaze destroyers, but that's a sort of a very depressing way of looking at it. So Shaanxi is being pushed back, as I said they would. Nationalist China falling back everywhere. I really thought the new map would help Nationalist China win more often, but it doesn't actually. It seems to be they lose as frequently as they used to. In fact, I would even say they lose as fast as they used to. So we've almost finished up our battleship tech. That's the last battleship tech I'm going to research. And I know some of you might be going, oh no, you need to research loads more. But you don't. You really don't, actually. Actually, no, we can get rid of that. We need some more, like some actual better tech I'm going to use. Yeah, because you don't need more than I'm not going to be building lots of battleships. I'm going to be building like 2 or 3 at most. And here they are. The Battleship V. Oh, okay. The Vittorio and Vittorio Veneto. 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 I don't know how to say it. Anyway, these 2 battleships are going to be the basis of my navy in the future. Well, not the basis of my navy, not a whole navy. Some of it. We'll research that gun tank too. That's what we'll do. And I know these battleships, by the way, won't be finished until war has begun. But I'm hoping I can make do with my 4 crappy battleships till then. So these guys will be finished. Yeah, so we should be done by then. Air launch torpedo, excellent. I'm going to keep that one in again. I definitely want that. Because I need, if my torpedo bombers are actually to become effective, they need torpedoes. And I want my torpedo bombers to become effective because that's part of my naval strategy, as I've been saying a few times. Occasionally in multiplayer you get one really annoying bug where you can't deploy units. So last game was France, I had a bit up here where I just couldn't deploy any units for a bit. And the only way you can get around that is by rehosting. And you rehost a lot in multiplayer games anyway. It's just that no one really wants to just because of the bug. Actually, no. What the hell am I doing? I'm not appointing compromise commanders to my elite. Compromise commanders, that sounds quite fun. You are a compromise commander. You are only good for compromises. Anyway, so I'm going to watch The Hobbit later. Quite excited about that. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've always wondered what it's going to be like. I've wondered what it was going to be like, essentially. Oh, hang on. I've got a text. Oh my god. Text, text, text. What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? Are you still coming to meet me? What could this mean? Question mark. Meet you? I don't even know who you are. Go away. Actually, no, I won't reply to my girlfriend like that. It's a bit rude. Naval strike. This is useless. These targeting texts are absolutely useless. Absolutely terrible. This is actually not... This is probably the best one of all. It tells them to focus on weak ships. But the bomber targeting focus and the fighter targeting focus are just terrible, terrible, terrible texts. Because all it does is tell them to attack certain parts of a stack. And to be honest... Like, you want your damage to be spread across the stack anyway. And you don't want to do all your damage to one unit all the time. So, just keep that in mind. Go on, we'll get some research. It's one of my personal preferences. Research is more important than production. But I'm not sure what it is. I never know which one of those is best to do. But I'd rather take the penalty, which has a bonus, than take a penalty without a bonus. If that makes sense. 3 arrow. I'm going to hold off appointing any of my commanders right now, because I know in 2 days' time I'm going to get a whole load of new commanders. As I said, 1 hour, 3 hours away. Okay, now we can do it. Because all commanders are apparently appointed at midnight on January 1st, 1938. Is there a fortress buster somewhere? There we are. We'll go for another wing of close air support. So I'm not even building any infantry right now, I'm just focusing on air and naval. See, that's a bit later than I was hoping, but to be honest, as long as I eventually get them. Sorry, I should just reply to this text. Yes. See you there. Exclamation mark. Right. Sorry about that. I know that's probably the least interesting thing that's ever happened on our Let's Play. I don't even bother to defend Zara. I've always thought it's more risk than it's worth. I quite like this province though, Lucino, because you can attack down here, and quite often once the war begins with Yugoslavia, this division gets redeployed up, which means you can just bypass all their defences. Doesn't always necessarily happen, it just happens quite a lot of the time. So going very naval heavy at the moment. I know it's actually more efficient to build these two battleships in turn, you know, sort of serial runs, but that doesn't really apply to battleships because you never have the time to build battleships in serial. You just don't have the time ever. I should probably chuck in infantry warfare again, shouldn't I? Japan's going to win. It's taken them a matter of months again. Oh no, it started in September, didn't it? Everything happens so fast in Speed 5. I always forget how fast it starts and goes. It's like in reality, like it feels like no time at all has passed. Quite a lot of time has passed, really. Like if that was September, it's been a few minutes, hasn't it? This new Speed 5 is great though, because I know it used to be pretty tedious. Speed 5 used to be Speed 4, but they've changed around the scaling a bit. And imagine this being Speed 5. That was what it was like in vanilla, and it was pretty terrible to be honest. I mean, you couldn't do this, you can just rush through peacetime. So February 38, so things are going to start kicking off soon. They really are. Production is going ahead at full speed. Italy's war economy, though, is a good thing. Most countries can't sustain war economy for anywhere near as long as Italy can, so that's why it's quite nice being able to do it like this. I really wish Hearts of Iron had some better music. I mean, like, the music isn't bad. And I heard some new songs. There are some new tracks actually in this thing. They seem to have come out of their finest hour, and they're quite interesting. But I suppose as someone that listens to classical music quite as much as I do, you know, being an orchestral trumpeter, this music is really... It feels very dull. It feels like there's never anything to it. I'm the kind of person that would much rather listen to music, and I know why they do it. This is a game, you know, people don't want to listen to music, they want to play the game, they don't want something which is drowning the game out, they don't want the music to be, you know, too dominating and stuff, but I don't care, because I don't really like listening to this music, I just don't think it doesn't do anything for me. It might as well just be sound in the background. So I'm exactly the kind of person that would be playing Shostakovich or something in the background. Shostakovich, if I something crazy, something really interesting and amazing, then I'm not sure I like this war goal, because I'm not sure it's actually realistic for Japan, having conquered pretty much all of China, to then say, oh no wait, we'll settle for the coast. I mean, I know why they've done it. They've done it so that Japan, so that there's some possibility of China recovering from it. That is the problem I said earlier of how Japan always wins. But you know, it's also taking away from the fact that Japan did actually win that war. I mean, they could have conquered all of China, but yet they make the war goal makes it seem as if Japan was sort of close, you know, almost like China was in any position to negotiate at all, which is definitely not the case. I'm going to start ranking up officer production now, because now it's 1938, I need to make sure I can actually get my officers out there. I need to be at 140% for war, as everyone should always be. I didn't manage that in multiplayer, I gambled too late, but oh well. Anyway, so I'm going to go. I hope you